Howdy parents. In this short little video we're going to be covering show and sell orientation for location leaders. Popcorn show and sells are some of the best ways that we have to be able to raise funds for scouts in short periods of time. And it's essential that we get you as parents trained on how to properly run a show and sell as a location leader, as our pack leaders are not able to be present at every one of those different show and sell events. The agenda for this training is we're going to cover why you're taking this training, what you need to do before your show and sell, how to execute a great show and sell, and what you need to do after. It's our goal with PAC 114 to provide maximum opportunity to all scouts to help achieve their personal popcorn fundraising goals. Each scout is different. Some scouts may want to only do the minimum, which as of 2018 is $600. Some scouts may want to do far more than that. We want to provide as much opportunity as possible, as show and sells are, in many parents' eyes, easier to set up, run, and tear down than going door to door for sales. However, in order to successfully accomplish this, we need parent involvement to be able to scale this operation to as many show and sell locations as parents are willing to sign up for. Therefore, we have the concept of a location leader who's going to help us with all of the activities necessary to run a given show and sell location. The necessity of this training is to make sure that we're minimizing inventory loss of popcorn and to help to keep an accurate financial trail through each of the events for both your safety as the parent as well as the pack safety, to ensure that the scouts get due credit for all of their earnings and that the pack is not losing money and losing inventory due to negligence or neglect. While this may seem a daunting prospect to be a location leader, I assure you, sit tight through the rest of this training and you'll see how easy it can be. If this is your first time being a location leader, thank you. We welcome your willingness to step up and to be able to be a location leader to run for your scouts and for other scouts as well. For your first time, you'll need to go through on your phone, either Android or Apple, and search for the Square Point of Sale application and download and install that on your phone. Then, contact a fundraising team member to get a Square account set up with the PAC 114 Square account. From there, the fundraising team member will provide you with the instructions on how to actually log into the app using a unique set of credentials provided specifically to you. Those instructions are necessary only for the first time. Once you have the app, you're never prompted again for the credentials unless you change phones. Before each show and sell for which you are the location leader, there are a few things that you need to do. First, reach out to one of the fundraising team members and arrange pickup of supplies. Depending on the day, different fundraising team members may or may not be available at home or may be out at a different show and sell location already. It is your responsibility as the location leader to get in contact with the location leaders and to get in contact with the fundraising team members to make arrangements for the pickup and drop off. At the pickup, you will receive all of the popcorn necessary to run your show and sell event, a bank bag that contains $100 in small bills for change, a Square credit card reader, and a table. Note, if you're an iPhone user that does that's using an iPhone that does not have the audio jack, you need to supply a Lightning connector to audio jack adapter. These are available through Amazon and through the Apple Store for around $10 and is something good to have anyways. Finally, the last thing that a fundraising team member is going to have you sign is a sign-out form. Our sign-out forms are meant to keep track of where inventory is going and how much money is also being distributed to what parents and other leaders. You will need to review the accuracy of what's on that form. So as you load your vehicle, keep track of how many different parcels of popcorn you have received, and also double check that the bank bag has exactly $100 cash. All of that information should match what's on the form. You will sign that form and give a copy back to the leader. When you go to your show and sell location, if you are setting up the show and sell location and not joining an existing already set up one, before actually setting up, please meet the manager on duty for the location you're attending. Introduce yourself as being from PAC 114 and make sure you understand where you're expected to set up. Go ahead and ask to make sure that there are any sort of special considerations that we should be taking care of. This is a courtesy to make sure that we are respecting the business owner or the manager of the business so that we're invited to continue to participate in show and sells in front of their business. Some common examples of other considerations that are just generally good practice are make sure not to follow customers around or into the store. If they have expressed interest or if they have expressed they are not interested in buying popcorn, simply say thank you and move along. Stay near the table to conduct the business. Do not block doorways. There's nothing more frustrating than a customer walking into a store who may not be interested in buying popcorn but is being blocked and prohibited from entering because of a couple of scouts. Climbing structures or buildings is strictly forbidden. Please make certain that the scouts are staying around the table, are staying focused on looking out for potential customers, and most importantly, are taking turns to not bombard customers. You want to make sure that when you set up the table in the designated area that you take the popcorn and place it prominently on top of the table. You want to make sure that the show and sell location looks really good and very attractive to oncomers. A good example of what a show and sell might look like is this. You'll notice that all the scouts are in their Class A uniforms. They're properly dressed. They must have both the shirt and the shorts. Baseball caps are optional, but strongly recommended, especially in locations like Walmart, where there is no overhang and the sun does get pretty brutal in early September and sometimes late October. You'll notice that the popcorn and other goods are clearly set out on the table so that people can peruse the inventory that's there. Additionally, you should have a laminated sheet with the different popcorn offerings that should also be in the hands of scouts for handing to interested customers. One thing you'll notice in this picture that from now on is going to be prohibited, and that is chairs. The show and sell locations are kept to a very short time frame, and scouts are encouraged to stay standing for this entire time. If they do get tired or fatigued, they should take a break, but not at the given show and sell location. When it comes to running a great show and sell, let the scouts make the pitch. They are the ones who are extremely motivated to get the sale, and it is extremely rewarding to them when their sale and their pitch converts into a buy for a customer. If they make a pitch and the customer is not interested, please be mindful and remind them to say thank you, because we want those customers to leave with a good impression of Cub Scouts. Make certain that the Scouts take turns. We should not end up in a situation where multiple Scouts are trying to converge on the same customer. It only creates confusion, and the customer is less likely to buy in that case. We do accept cash checks and credit cards. We'll go into how to take credit cards in just a moment. Scouts are encouraged to collect cash and checks from customers and to give change to those customers. You'd be surprised how rewarding it is for a Scout to take a $20, a $50, or even a $100 bill from a customer, something that they rarely get to see, and make change for that and hand it back to the customer. You'd also be just as surprised at how delighted the customers are that the kids are taking the majority of the action to complete their transaction. Give the power and the encouragement to the kids to do as much as possible, but definitely make sure to supervise so that the correct change is given out. Credit card transactions, on the other hand, need to be handled by a location leader, likely because number one, it's the location leader's phone, and number two, credit card transactions have proven a little bit more tricky for Scouts to handle than it would be for an adult to handle. Regardless, the location leader must record all transactions using Square, including cash and check transactions. This helps to make sure that we are accounting for all transactions and can clearly report on the end of our sales at the end of a given shift, as well as the end of a given day. If a refund needs to be issued for whatever reason, specifically for credit card transactions, please immediately call a member of the fundraising team. After you have first configured your account, you are likely to have not opened the Square app for some time. When you first open the Square app, after establishing the account with Pack114, you'll see a screen similar to what you see on the right. Ignore the code that it's asking for there. That's for the fundraising team and the treasurer only. Simply click the guest button in the upper right-hand corner to continue. I have a video here demonstrating the usage of both credit card, cash, and check transactions. To start with, we'll consider a customer who's wanting to buy an 18-pack of Unbelievable Butter. You'll start by clicking the icon in the inventory screen, and it will give you an option, or it will go up and show that there's $20 pending payment. From there, when you click the blue button, it'll take you to the opportunity to specify how you want to actually complete the transaction. By default, if you have the reader plugged into your phone, it will give you the option that says swipe to pay. If you swipe and the credit card isn't read correctly, you'll get a pop-up that says card not charged. Simply swipe the card again, and your transaction should go through. It may take a few moments depending on the speed of the internet connection, but once it's authorized and approved, it will immediately change to the signature screen. I apologize for the layout change, but it will change to landscape. You'll need to hand the phone to the customer so that they can sign. After they have signed, they will either click the complete transaction button, continue in the upper right, or hand the phone back to you where you can click continue. That'll take them to the receipts page. If they've already been a Square customer before, it won't actually give you an option to specify a receipt. However, if they are not, if they are not a Square customer, that's where it actually gives you that option. You may, if the customer wants a receipt, you can give it to them either through text message or email, or simply click no thanks, and that will complete the transaction. Click the new sale button in the upper right hand corner and you're ready to go again. Now let's talk about cash transactions. Suppose for a moment that somebody wants to come in and buy the chocolate caramel crunch tin. You click the icon, it says you've got $30 ready to go. If you click the charge button, first you'll notice that if there is no reader connected to your phone, you'll see connect a reader to swipe or insert or tap. This means if you see this as opposed to swipe to charge, you need to reconnect your dongle to your phone. However, in this case, we're talking about a cash transaction. You'll notice the option for cash right below the amount. Simply click the cash box, and it'll transition you to the next screen. By default, if you click the charge button, it assumes 100 easy transaction, no change. They gave you 30 exact dollars. You're once again presented with the option to specify a receipt. I'm going to show an example of just entering a phone number, and there it goes. My text message will be sent. I click new sale. I'm ready for my next transaction. Now let's give a different example with a check. Suppose somebody wants a jalapeno cheddar. I click the inventory icon, click the charge button. To do checks, you go down to the More link, and under here you'll notice checks. Click that. In here, specify the check number, 1243 as an example, and click charge. That'll complete the transaction. Notice I just received my text message from Square for my previous transaction. Here, I'm not going to send a receipt. There's a couple of other cases that we want to review. Let's suppose for just a moment that you accidentally double click. Oh, the person only wanted 1 pack of kettle corn. To remedy this, let me back up for just a moment. So, let's suppose you double enter and you really only wanted to sell 1. Click the current sale button at the top and it'll show what's in the current sale. Click on the item that's wrong and you can reduce the quantity and click save. Alternatively, if you click the wrong icon, simply click it and click remove. Click the X and you're back in business. You'll notice that all of the different popcorn that we sell at Show and Sells show up when you're selecting the popcorn sales category. However, there is one frequent occurrence that ends up happening, which is donations. In order to accept a donation, if you're in the popcorn sales filter, click the drop down and go to all items. All items actually is the default starting point for every Square user. So to get rid of the unnecessary other items in the inventory view here to focus straight on popcorn, I recommend at first people go straight to popcorn. But when dealing with donations, go to all items. Oh no. Go to all items, scroll down, and you'll find donations. Donations is a variable item, so however much an individual gave you, just key that in. So in this case, we'll say that they gave us $20. Click add, and you proceed with transaction as normal. Either take a credit card, take cash, or take check. In this case, we'll take cash, charge it, and complete it. Note, if you enter a different value on the cash page, like 30 out of 20, so if you enter $30 for a $20 receipt, it will actually tell you the exact change that's expected. Just a little tip. Finally, one of the other items I want to show you is if you try to look at the reports, you'll notice that it requires a passcode. This is a restricted feature. Only the fundraising team and the treasurer has that. You can, however, take a look at your transactions. If you try to issue a refund, however, you will be blocked. You will require that passcode in order to do that. Please call a fundraising team member in the event that you actually need to issue a refund for whatever reason. And with that, those are the basics of how to actually use the Square app. After completing your show and sell event, you need to record which scouts were present for the event. It's important to make sure that we have a proper accounting of all scouts present so that they can get the credit for all sales during that shift. It's important to note as well, there may be some scouts who signed up that didn't attend for whatever reason. Those scouts do not get credit for that shift. If you're ending a shift and transitioning to the next location leader, all of the items that you have with you, the remaining popcorn, the bank bag with the current amount of money that you have sold, and the Square adapter all need to go to the next leader. The way that we are able to ensure accuracy of giving credit to the scouts in the first shift versus the second shift is through the Square app. Thus, the emphasis and the importance to make certain that you are logging all transactions, donations, cash sales, check sales, and credit card sales through that app, as that's the only way that we're going to be able to keep track of sales during a given shift. If you are the last location leader at a show and sell, please make sure that you clean up and take away all items brought with you. Leave no trace is the Scout motto, and we need to make sure that we follow that here. We want to make certain that we leave our site better than we arrived, better than it was when we first arrived, so that we're invited back to continue to sell in front of that business again. Within 24 hours, the popcorn, the bank bag with the money, and the table must be returned to one of the members of the fundraising team. You should have made arrangements with that fundraising team member to be able to facilitate drop-off after the event is closed. If you haven't, please get in contact with them right away to figure out how to get those materials back to them. This is especially important at the end of the day on Saturday, because we need to make certain we have the inventory, starting bank bags, and all of our equipment ready to go for Sunday's show and sells. If you have any questions, these are your 3 key contacts right now. Saul Friedenberg is our fundraising chair. I, Chris Weldon, am your committee chair. And Andy Adcock, our Cub Master. All 3 of us have all of the popcorn located at each of our houses, and we'll be doing our best to make ourselves available to you, the location leaders, to make sure that we make this as easy an experience as possible. If you have any questions or concerns, don't hesitate to reach out to us before, during, or after an event. We hope that you have a great experience with these show and sells, and we hope that your scouts sell big and meet and exceed their personal selling goals. Thank you very much.